Now,
Boom.
I see it. Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your man, J Kev, here with Lafe. What's up, Lafe? How you doing?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Hopefully we'll have a good, decent, transparent conversation talking about, all things health, wealth, relationships, and happiness. But today we're just going to be talking about, I wanted to focus on uh the quarantine, the lockdown, the pandemic, and look at it from the aspect in terms of health and
Okay.
fitness. I sent you a link to an article talking about pandemic eating habits and how to lose the quarantine 15. So they kind of got me thinking about what some people, what many of us, what even me, I've had to struggle with as far as bad habits, health habits, and keeping those at the edge. Keeping those mitigated, keeping those under restraint, control, trying to discipline myself. Does that make sense? Keeping
Makes
those
perfect
negative
sense to me.
habits at bay and keeping the good habits going. Just quarantines kind of the quarantine, the pandemic's kind of gotten me doing some of these negative habits in the article, like cook, let me see here, like
You pull
choosing
those
more.
up.
Yeah, go ahead and put those up real quick. Like choosing to cook, to eat more convenient foods, and doing a little bit of emotional eating, more snacking, eating while watching TV. Uh, no, I didn't have the alcohol issue, but some of these other, but some of these other bad habits, before you know it, you can get that pandemic 15, or if you ever been to college, the freshman
Oh yeah,
15, right? So
or the
I'm
freshman 40.
the oh man, the freshman 40, yeah, the senior 40, by the time you make it all the way through. Um, but I just want to have a little conversation about that and just talk about the process, the journey of going from not so good optimal health to one of better health, more optimal health, and just trying to get things on track and talk about the process, the journey of that
Okay.
with a special guest
Okay.
today, Desiree Willis.
Let's
So we're gonna invite her
bring
whenever
her
whenever
in.
you want.
There she is.
Hey, what's up, Desiree? How you doing?
What's going on?
Hi, I'm sorry I can't hear Kevin.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
sorry.
that is not good.
I know first it was you, now it's him.
We're,
I'm
Okay,
we're
not
so
sure
having
what's going on.
we're having
so
But
some technical
hi,
difficulties.
everybody.
So do I need to
here,
log back out and come in,
here.
or
I tell you what, Desiree, log
uh,
out and then log back in. We'll try that
okay.
one more time. Okay.
Okay.
but we're gonna see what happens when she gets back in. But we're gonna talk with her about um, some her journey and use that as maybe an example, or just talk about the narrative. Just look at her story about going from uh, not so good health and fitness to better health and fitness, and her journey with that, and how in her story we can find so many principles and elements that can be applied across the board to just about all of our lives,
Good to
and
go.
and
So,
and that we can use in not only in our health and wellness, but also use in other areas of our life that we often talk about, life with our wealth, our relationships, and our purpose. So, hey, Desiree, how you doing?
Hey, Kevin.
Cool.
I'm doing good.
Glad to have you. I
Yes.
was telling Lake before we got on earlier. One of the things that I was noticing was a lot of your posts and a lot of things that you were doing online, your YouTube channel. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. I was looking at it, and a lot of the things that you were saying and talking about, I found motivational and inspirational, and it put me back in a place of the initial beginnings of my health and wellness journey, and how excited I was, and how in those beginning times Lafe had watered my encouragement, and he had pushed me and had talked to me about blogging and about documenting and about becoming more open and transparent about my health and wellness journey, and just being more open about it. And in that process, they helped me a lot. And in that process, I found that it helped and inspired others too. So I'm looking at you and I'm saying like, wow, she's really inspiring me with some of the groups that you
But see,
started.
you've actually been the one that's inspired me. Like I look up to you a lot when it comes to the whole, you and Lafe actually, when it comes to, having overall optimal wellness. I would attend your a couple of your exercise classes, and you would push me like, "That's right, don't give up." That really means a lot because it really is all about, your mindset. You have to think positive, and retrain your brain to, make better choices and break
So
unhealthy habits.
So what made you like just like really hit this it's like you hit a turbocharger or something, like you just really just took off. And so what was the initial thing that really got you going in this direction that kind of just
I just, I just kind of feel like it was my purpose. Honestly, I feel like there are a lot of people out there that don't share the work behind,
okay.
the success. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Yep.
mean? People see the transformation, like, oh, you lost a lot of weight. And I do get a lot of questions, on, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I know how it feels to be that person to want to lose weight, trying everything and just not having much success. I always wonder, like, how are you doing it? And sometimes we don't like the answer that we get, because it is, it's a matter of, it's hard,
Work.
it's hard work, but it's
Yes.
very beneficial. And that's what kept me motivated in going. I, I liked the way that I felt when I, made healthier choices, and was more intentional with like when I saw the success that I had or the results, I started to become more intentional and started to, be consistent with what worked. And, the more that I was consistent, I started to learn more and just apply it to my life. And if I can share that knowledge with someone else, to help them have a better life, or help them take charge of their life, then, I'm willing to share that knowledge.
So tell me, like, initially, like, give me the background story, your journey. Everybody everybody
Well,
starts out as Clark Kent. You have that moment where you just kind of switch and you become you transform, or you have a metamorphosis.
well, I had always been the fat kid. So I was so, ashamed, not necessarily ashamed, or, you know, kids can be cruel
Yeah.
and, crack jokes on you being the fat kid. And I was the only girl, out of a whole bunch of boys. And so, of course, I feel like I got discriminated against for that.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
yeah,
It's real.
it's
yeah, I
real.
mean, it just really took its toll on me, especially in my adolescent years. Um, and minus the, I know there's the teenage angst and everything's almost, worse than what it really is. But um, I just, I finally got to a point where I had learned to love myself for who I was, right, physically, right, right then and there. And the moment I became comfortable with where Desiree was at, currently being, curvy, being plus size, that's when I started to lose weight, almost
Hmm.
unintentionally. It's
Mm.
like I was telling Kevin before, I had started off just intermittent fasting, not even realizing that that was what I was doing. I was just rushing to go to work every day, not eating breakfast, which I do kind of want you guys take on that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely talk about that.
But my brother, you all know Quentin and how chunky he used to be, and
Hmm.
he actually inspired me and my older sister as well. She's also, on the plus size side, and she had started about a year before I had, and she had lost almost like 50 pounds in a year.
Wow.
Wow.
And yeah, just taking it slow, day by day. But Quinn and I were just sitting in the car, and he was like, Desiree, you should just really, not that like I said, I used to be really ashamed of my body. I would never take full body pictures, just, it would just always be from here up. Never really, I just never thought I was, attractive in that way, unsubconsciously,
Mhm.
And he said, Desiree, you should just give it a try. Try losing weight. I'm just like, nah, bro, I'm cool. I done tried everything. Like, I'm cool with where I'm at. And he was like, Desiree, come on, let's do it. We can do the green smoothie challenge and hit this insanity. It was a bit much at first, just starting out.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did it because he pushed me. He was just like, Desiree, you just got to keep your goal in mind. Like, how bad do you want it? And not that I wanted it that bad, but I was just, trying it out to see if I could do it. And once I saw what those results, from just disciplining myself, even just on the few days because I never completed it, the green smoothie challenge, I was just motivated to keep going, like keep that ball rolling. And it's like I was telling Kevin, from that point on, I started doing a low carb, high protein diet and exercising at least 30 minutes a day, walking at work, 15 minutes, but on my 15-minute breaks, listening to music. You would see me dancing as I'm walking around the track at work. And then that just kind of led me going to the gym, getting on that elliptical and getting that full body workout, and then eventually hitting the machines or the circuits. And the more I was just consistent, it just kind of
fell off.
Yeah, I drank my water every day. I wasn't perfect every day. I will admit that, but I was more intentional every day. And with my physical journey also came, I gained a closer relationship with Christ. And I think that my relationship with Christ was a reflection of my weight loss journey, because I couldn't do it. I mean, I'm not going to say I couldn't do it, but I don't think I would be as motivated to do it if I didn't have the mind transformation, from the help, from God.
Nice.
So, and the more that I began to learn of him and spend time with him and how he sees me, that's how I began to see myself.
So you begin to take on his mindset about you.
Exactly. And he just transformed my mind. I mean, as I began having having happier thoughts, I wasn't as depressed. I wasn't feeling sluggish in my body anymore. I had energy. And so I felt like I was able to even retain and understand more, even how, I guess, cope, with certain situations.
Yep.
And I had like you said, support system is important. My sister was very integral in my weight loss journey. She would challenge me. When the summer came, we would have like a certain amount of steps that we would have to get towards the end of the week. And if you didn't reach it, you had to pay that person $5. And of course, I lost most of the time, but it was a good way to keep each other motivated. And I kind of fell off for a little bit back in August, but I was able to maintain being at work.
Nice.
Yeah, but this quarantine is it's been beneficial in a lot of ways, but it's also been kind of
challenging.
Because I'm having to go back and go back to the drawing board and realize
do your first works over.
Yeah, like realize that what worked for me in the beginning isn't really quite working for me now, because now I don't go to work every day. It's like I was saying, Kevin, I work from home, so I'm going from my room to the next room, and to the kitchen whenever I feel like it. So, it's just, and and the kitchen stays stocked, even though I go get, and I have been doing pretty well. My mother and I have been doing pretty well as far as drinking smoothies every day. I've been pretty consistent with that. And even having healthier meals.
Nice.
We cook more at home than we did before. And that was another point in the article, is that was another positive trend that's coming about with the quarantine. And I can say that that's been very beneficial for us, but we've just been trying to incorporate more healthier things into our meals as we go. And I'm actually very proud of my mom, because she's been very consistent in encouraging me on this journey, so on days when I want to quit. So
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed out those good habits, that this is something that's real simple, 5 easy points that anybody can focus on. If just in case you do get off, just in case I get off track, everybody's cooking at home, or at least this is a good time to uh, become stronger in that habit of cooking at home, having family meals, if you can, where you actually, some of us turn the TV off and actually sit at the table and look at each other and have a conversation without screens on or around. These are good habits that we can have in place, and also, learning to prepare in advance versus just grabbing the first thing out of convenience, and then eating healthier meals, learning what that actually means, and just kind of implementing that as much as you can, and then starting your day off where I can't really hone in or pound or emphasize that as enough. And how we start off our days is very important. It's very essential how your day goes. One of the things that we talk about, me and Lafe, and on the show a lot, is starting your day off right, getting your mindset, your heart set, having a conversation with God, having prayer in the morning.
And that's something I've actually been trying to be more intentional with myself in this season.
Yes.
Praying more, trying to get into a morning routine, so that way it becomes habit, and expanding my time with God, because I know, like, sometimes we rush through prayer. So I'm working on my prayer life a little more, and just, when you start your day off on a positive note, you're more prone to keep that going throughout your day. And that was something else that, like you said, the article talked about. So it's kind of crazy how it's just kind of really hitting on a lot of points that I'm actually going through right now, or trying to get over.
Now, you started 2 groups. You started 2 Facebook groups. Which were they? Can you name them real quick?
Oh, one's a plant group, and the very first one that I started was called Weight Droppers More Than Conquerors, and it was just something that I started
to document.
To document what I was doing, keeping people, just keeping up with what I was doing, and also create a space where other people could share their journeys and their tips as well, and gain support from one another. Because I think no one has there's something to be learned from everybody,
Oh yeah.
And I've been enjoying it. The second group that I have or that I'm an admin for, is Planet by Friends, and it started off. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the wine group, where women are wining each other with, it's like different gifts, not different gifts, but just small appreciation with, wine. But yeah, it's like a wind down kind of thing.
So you took that and you
some of us
swiped
wanted
it
an
out.
alternative. Yeah, we wanted an alternative. What if we don't drink wine,
Right.
And, yeah, and I had came across a status by Ariana Shelton. She's another graphic designer. She created a status. She was like, what if we had a group where we could gift each other plants instead of alcohol, because not everybody wants to drink, and not everybody, And I was like, that would be awesome, because I know like plants or plant life is something that I would like to get more into, because, I hike and I love nature. So, and I wanted to, and I know I had talked to you before, Kevin, about starting a garden and everything. Yeah. So I thought it would be a great way for us to
promote,
get to know each other. Yeah. You promote plant life and get to know people, and just
build the habit of growing. Okay. Yeah. Now I really wanted to like hammer in and kind of drill down on that, and that was one of the things that kind of really made me like reach out to you as far as the plant life and the cultivation of the habit of individuals
What's the
gifting.
name of the group again? Plants.
It's called Planted by Friends.
Okay,
Can
planted by
can
friends.
anybody join that group?
Yes, anybody can join the group if you have a love and appreciation for plants.
Okay,
You're more than
and I
welcome
want
to join the group.
and I was, I found it encouraging when you did that because I believe and I think I'm of the mindset that right now it's very essential and very important that our communities cultivate and really instill the habit of growing our own food and growing and just having some in food insurance. When you have a
Yes,
community of people that all have something growing, then you have money or you have currency or you have something that you can barter with that can be heavily uh, that can be negotiated with, bartered with, and
Or
exchanged.
you can just survive from it.
It- or you can just survive with it. And,
yes.
I try to keep things lighthearted, but believe me, I stay in the news more than probably what I should be. And I'm just looking at like worldwide right now.
Mm,
You have countries like Venezuela, Chile, you have Brazil, you have like some other countries too. This is what the lockdown is creating a situation that is placing millions. I think the UN said that millions are going to will starve and are starving right now as a result of the economic shutdown of the Western engine of commerce. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So pretty much, there's a lot of people that's going to start that's starving right now, and just looking at the breakdown of the food supply chain here and in other places, me personally, I think it's an issue to where everybody's looking left right now, and then we have something on the right that may sucker punch a lot of us. So when I seen where you had made the group, I thought this is awesome, and it's something that cannot be shouted from the hilltops enough that we as a community,
yes,
should be cultivating in whatever way we can our own stuff. And if you can't do that, I understand. Start forming relationships with local farmers and people that do
yes.
produce food. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's actually something that I'm wanting to do. I was planted by a friend, and he gave me some seeds.
Hmm.
They're lemon balm seeds and sunflower seeds, and but they're from Glen, Kentucky. So I just decided to look them up and found that they are it's a nonprofit that um, they have volunteers, and they're trying to less, I guess, shorten the gap between those that are without food,
Good
or
food,
Right.
yeah.
so because we waste a lot of food, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so to, I guess, to combat that, um, they have people that
Donate.
volunteer, yeah, don't exactly donate their gardens to grow produce and donate to communities that have food shortages. So
Yes.
I actually signed up for that. Yeah, I signed up for that. So I'm actually pretty excited. I just have to do the training, and I'm just excited to learn as much as possible. It's a trial and error thing. It's a trial and error thing, just like weight loss and anything else. So I'm trying not to be too hard on myself when it comes to that.
No, me and
Because
Lafe
I
talk
want to
about that
keep
all
it
the time. As
lighter.
far as the process in the beginning, you're going to be clunky. You're not going to get things right. You're going to mess up.
Yeah,
Just
you did the most important thing by just starting, right? It's funny that you mentioned the plants. My wife and I and my family yesterday we went to a friend's house that has like a backyard garden, and that was the very thing that they said is just start. And it's like
Mhm.
with anything in life, right? It's like, when you had an impetus, your brother's like, come on, just go ahead and do it.
yep.
And then
Mhm.
you just worked your way through the process and to where you find where your groove is. And I think that's the most important thing for a lot of people is they're so afraid of
Yeah.
messing up, of not continuing, that they never get started. And that's probably the single biggest step you can do with anything in life is to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
But so many people are afraid of failing, and it's
Yep.
Where,
okay to fail. You know,
were
like
you
we
out
see
there when I
failure as a
started?
bad thing.
Were
Oh,
you
I'm
out there
sorry,
when
Kevin.
I
I didn't mean to
started the?
talk over you.
No, you're fine. Were you out there when I started the church garden and I failed at it?
Yeah, yeah. You and listen, you tried, you know, and I honestly I feel like if you
I
had
tried.
more people on board, you know, with helping, and if I had interest, then I would have helped. And you know, but I mean, it's not that I didn't even have interest because I was interested in learning, but you know,
But
I'm
you are
sorry,
now,
Kevin.
so that's
I'm sorry, I owe you that.
that's okay.
Kevin was
Yeah,
that lone
I
weed
remember
blowing in the
putting in
wind.
the ground and like we had was it chicken wire, like barbed wire, to even try to keep the rodents out because we had a lot of like rabbits and stuff and
Yep.
possums and raccoons that come back there. But
No,
I just what
go
were you
ahead.
saying?
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just think a lot of people are just afraid of failure when it comes to, you know, whether it be losing weight or even, you know, starting a garden. You get discouraged because it died. You know what I'm saying? But you also have, if you're going to do these things, you have to take time and research it. And that's what a lot of, you know, that's where, you know, your self-discipline and accountability comes in. You know, if you want to be better, you know, or you want to learn something, you have to be willing to research and, you know, learn for yourself. So
Yeah, it's something I want to circle back to. When you first started talking, and it made me think. So, just for those that don't know, I've been knowing Desiree since she was a little bitty kid,
yeah.
and so she's still a little kid. And my wife and I,
Yeah.
we love Desiree a lot. She's always smiling. She's always, happy. But one of the things that I thought about when you were talking about some of the things that you're going through is the fact that you never know what's inside of somebody, and so when I remember you testifying about some of your journey, and for people on the outside looking in, it's hard to tell what somebody is going through internally. And so I just wanted to encourage you and also get you to encourage other people that may be going through the same thing right now. What advice would you give to somebody that's suffering silently, so to speak?
Suffering silently, I would just say cry out to God. Honestly, that's the best advice that I can give you. People think that when you go to God that you have to be all what's the word I'm looking
Perfect.
for?
Got
Yeah,
it
like
together.
no, you can tell God how you feel. You can come to him in frustration. You can come to him uh about your sadness. You can, you know, break down before him and just know that everything that you're going through is literally working for your good. All things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So if I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be able to appreciate where I'm at now. Who's to say that I would be even doing this? You know what I mean? If I, you know, who's to say what I would be doing? You know, God has the path that he has for you. And instead of thinking why me, thinking what is it that you would like for me to take from this, Lord?
Mm.
What is it that you're trying to get me to see? You have to change your perspective, and once you change your perspective, that's the key to everything. You know, how help me to see me the way you see me, Lord. Help me to love myself the way that you love me. And that's ultimately what it is, because once he fills you up with all of that, it almost comes pouring out naturally, you
Yep.
know. So, and he'll give you the self-discipline that you're looking for. You know, that's a fruit of the spirit. Kindness, you know,
Mm.
patience.
Oh, it's freezing up.
Yeah, you froze. Oh no.
All
Oh
lifestyle,
man.
There
you
you go.
know.
She's back. No. Oh no.
Oh,
Technical difficulty.
oh.
Okay, there you are. There you
Sustaining
are.
plant life,
Yeah, you're back.
but but yeah, I mean, you know, just it's all about what you decide to focus on. Are you going to focus on
Mm.
being, doubting yourself, or are you going to choose to love yourself today and say, I'm worthy? I don't know if you guys have ever listened to the TED Talk, The Power of Vulnerability.
I
I
don't know.
might have.
Oh,
Maybe.
it's so
I've seen a lot of
powerful.
TED
I
Talks,
actually
so I don't
started
Yeah,
know.
I've seen a lot.
the other day. Yeah, somebody referred it to me the other day, but one of the main points that the speaker made was that people who thought highly of themselves or that had self-confidence, the only difference between them and the people that didn't was that they felt that they were worthy of it. They felt they were worthy of it. It's
Yeah,
just a
my
small,
wife
simple
watches
thought.
that. My wife was recently watching that very TED Talk. I'm looking at it now, and then I see exactly
Oh,
what it is. Yeah,
Is it who is it?
it's
Who is it? Brene?
so
Brene Brown.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, it is so powerful. I just watched it this week. And it's so simple. She's just talking about how, by being vulnerable. And that's something that I'm actually, working toward getting past with my vlog and, just documenting my journey. And we all know we overcome by the power of our testimony. We never know who is going to help. But she was just talking about how we are, by being vulnerable, we're afraid of shame. What comes with vulnerability, the shame of being vulnerable, because somebody may look down upon us. Oh, they did this. Oh, she did that. Oh, she looked like that. So it keeps us from being vulnerable. But it's whether or not we choose to let that shame or embarrassment keep us from receiving what God has for us. Yes, it was very powerful.
Yeah,
Very
my
powerful.
wife was listening to that this morning, as a matter of fact. That's why I
Are
was
you
like, let
serious?
me look this up.
Wow. Yeah, Brene Brown, she's a very prolific writer, and she has a lot of books that's helped a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, you
she.
gotta recommend me some. Yeah, she's dope.
Well, I'll just listen to her TED Talks. I've listened to her in interviews and stuff, but I never really read any of her
Okay.
books.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, send me some interviews. I actually enjoyed her a lot. I enjoyed her a lot, and because she hit on a lot of things that, like I said, I struggled with, you
Hmm.
know, and I feel like at some point we all struggle with vulnerability and being able to receive, certain things, and it keeps us bound. So it's either we're going to be vulnerable and believe that we're worthy of being happy, or do we feel like we're not? You have to find that within yourself. If you want to
Yeah.
be happy, take in certain fruits, stop eating junk, and take in fruits and vegetables that promote happiness, that make you feel better about yourself, that don't
Yeah.
weigh you down, because that's literally what it feels like. It's like, I don't feel like
Mhm.
doing anything, literally low energy,
Yeah.
and a seasonal, and I think that's what causes a lot of seasonal depression, because we spend a lot of time inside, for one, and we're not. And that was something that the article talked about, was mindful eating and intentional eating. When you're at home a lot, you don't pay attention to what you eat, and even
And
it's
we're just not talking about
yeah.
physical foods. We're talking about what you take in as far as sound, and what you take in as far as what you read, the messages that you think about, as far as like TV and stuff. We're talking about consumption on all
Mhm.
levels of our humanity. So you're really hitting on a lot of points, and you're a walking story of a lot of the things that um, the show is about and what we talk about.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, because
I
you
appreciate
said,
you guys inviting me. For
huh?
Mhm.
sure. I said
You drop,
I appreciate you guys inviting me and having me on.
yeah, you dropping so many nuggets, like Snoopy the Baron dropping bombs. You just dropping bombs everywhere. You talking about mindset,
Yep.
perspective, taking on the mindset of God as far as how He views you. You are you are the image of Him. You're an imager.
Yes.
Imager, when you are a representative of Him. So in that, you can stand tall and think highly of yourself.
Yeah.
Not too high, right? We don't want to get a
Mhm.
big
Right.
head, but think high
Right.
enough to know that you don't have to accept any and everything that comes your way. And you are the child, the daughter of Zion, of a
Yes.
king, right? So these
Yes.
are things that when it comes to perspective and how you view yourself, your self-image, this will definitely affect how you eat. If I'm a king, if I'm the child of a king, I'm eat the king's table. He's gonna give me some good food, right? He's not gonna give me
Right.
anything. He's gonna give me the
Right.
best of the best. So your body deserves the best of the best that you can get when you can get it. Sometimes there are
Right.
times where I can get a spam or quinoa. And sometimes you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this filet mignon, or I'm gonna get
you know?
this chard, this organic chard. I don't know, organic kale.
Oh
Yeah, but
man.
also one of the things that I noticed when you were talking is, we talk about developing keystone habits, and one of the
Yes,
keystone habits that you developed was exercise, and then you talked about the progression of everything, every other aspect of your life, how that
yes,
exercise changed you mentally, emotionally, and even exploratorily, right? To
mhm,
where it's like, you talk about hiking, you talked about, doing planning, things that you
Yeah.
probably didn't consider before that now are a part of your everyday life.
Yes.
okay.
Definitely.
Do you have any questions, or you have any
Yeah, yeah,
I
direction?
yeah.
do. I have a lot of well, not a lot.
Oh
I
my
have.
goodness.
I know. She pulled out the
Okay.
Rolodex.
I got look. I got like a page, but it's spaced
No, it's all
out.
good. It's
Don't,
all good.
don't
It's
be
all
too
good.
don't be too intimidated. But I guess do you prefer juicing or smoothies? Why not?
Personally, I prefer smoothies because I want everything. I want everything as far as that comes with the fruit or whatever I'm putting in it. I just don't want juice. I want everything. So I'm personally a smoothie guy.
Yeah, likewise. I'm a smoothie person. I know my wife does juices. So it really just depends on what your purpose is behind it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I know, like if you're like into like Gerson therapy and things like that, they recommend juicing quite a bit. Like Kevin, myself, I like getting the fibers and everything that are associated with the fruit. And again, I don't think that there's any one wrong answer.
Right.
In terms of consistent liquid, water is your best friend. Make sure that you drink plenty of that. But in terms of juicing versus smoothies, I know there's different, teams that you can be on, one versus the other. But again, if you're, taking in organic, fruits and vegetables and those kinds of things, I'd recommend doing whatever one suits you best, and monitor yourself whatever you do. You can take a daily inventory of how you feel, how you go about your day, and I would use that as my barometer on what to be doing.
Tiandra said smoothies. Um,
Okay. So
yeah,
do
you
you
don't
guys
have to
journal at all?
journal.
Yes, I journal every day.
Okay.
I did a show on it back in, I guess, August of last year. And I've been journaling. I've missed a few days, but I backtrack on those days that I missed and I couple them together. But I've been journaling every day from that day forward. So, yes.
Now I don't journal every day per se, but I do write down my thoughts and ideas on a daily basis. I always carry around,
It's
I
called
always carry
journaling,
around
Kevin.
like a
It's
little
called journaling.
notebook or whatever. I filled up a bunch of notebooks of just notes and just ideas and thoughts that I've run across, and you come back and read them later, and you can see growth, or you can see where you changed, or you can see where you was at a certain specific time. Journaling or writing is something that helps you articulate and crystallize
Yep.
your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs about something. I think often we have, or I had the idea that when you have a belief, it's something that's just, it stays that way forever, when that's not the case. And a lot of times you really don't understand or know what you really believe until you have to sit down
And
and
investigate it.
think about it and write it out. When you writing helps you freeze a thought, think about it, and it helps you crystallize it and put it down. So it's something that can help you as far as like determining what you actually believe and where you are actually stand on a lot of issues. I did blog off and on for years, and so that helps.
Okay. And then let's see here. What's your process for like prepping meals?
Hmm.
Mine is called Shauna. I love my wife.
Hmm. Well, I don't have to do a lot of meal prepping because a lot of meals that I eat aren't very elaborate. I've pretty much worked out a system that works for me to where I kind of have things so systematized and minimalized that I don't do a lot of prepping. For example, when I get up in the morning, I have a smoothie. In the afternoon, I have a salad or a wrap. And then at night, it's usually whatever if I feel like eating.
Right, right. That's where I'm at with it most of the time. It's like most of the time by dinner, I really don't feel like eating. So what are y'all's feelings on intermittent fasting? Do you think it's? I mean, I know people have success with it, but is it healthy? Like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
You want to go?
Yeah, well, let's see. So for me, I pretty much intermittent fast every day,
Mm,
and like you, I started off. It was an accident,
mm,
and for me, it's usually accidental. By I start working, and I just keep going until I don't, and then that's when I eat. Like for example, I haven't eaten my first meal yet today, but I have had a smoothie, and again, it's not by design, and I've noticed everybody in my household since the whole quarantine thing, because our habits have changed, has actually lost weight,
mm,
because we eat later, and for me, I I personally just wait till I'm hungry to eat, because
mm,
I did change what I eat in terms of my intake of food, eating healthier foods, which means I don't personally, I can only speak for myself. I don't have cravings throughout the day. So I have those 1 to 3 meals max, and that's it. I don't snack or anything like that. So that's just me personally, and it actually happened accidentally. It wasn't something I thought about until after I was doing it. I was like, maybe I'll just keep doing it. And I've dropped about probably 20 pounds
mm.
over the past few months. And you always hit a sticking point, where I guess what is called ZPG or something. I can't remember the terms,
Mhm.
where you're at your ideal body weight and it just maintains regardless. And I think that's where I am personally, because I've been probably the same weight for the past 4 months now. And so
Okay.
yeah, so I'm all for intermittent fasting. It's good for your body, and cultures actually take days where they don't eat the whole day,
Mhm.
just because of it, from a standpoint of scarcity, in terms of, not that there is a scarcity, but just preparing for that. So your body
Right.
doesn't go into shock when you don't have a meal, kind of thing. So
Mm.
again, I always tell people, do what works for you. Everybody's
Right.
different. Everybody's mindset is different. Everybody's body chemistry is different. So anyway, that's for me. I'm gonna go for it. How about
Yeah,
you?
I'm gonna go for intermittent fasting. I like everybody else. I think that I happened upon it just by accident, in that one of the side effects when you get nutrient dense foods is that you don't eat as much, and your cravings will diminish. Um, when you're eating a lot of nutrients and your body gets what it needs, it doesn't eat. And I think, but we're designed not to eat as much when we're getting the things that we need. One of the things about
Right.
our diet today, a standard American diet, they call it the SAD diet, is that a lot of people are well fed, overfed, undernourished, and that we're
Yeah.
eating a lot of empty calories and it's not sustaining us. Um,
Mm.
I know before I switched over, I could eat a lot, and I
Yeah,
was I was probably like 20 pounds overweight. And then when I
Mm.
made the switch initially, I just started weight just started falling off of me to the point to where I can remember going to a church service one day, and somebody said, "Why don't you stop losing weight? You losing too much weight." I'm like, "I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just
Right.
I wasn't trying,
Right.
So when your body gets what it needs, it's going to naturally do what needs to do
Right.
in order to for you to be
Right.
your ideal best version of what you're supposed to be.
Gotcha.
And I'll throw this in there real quick because you made mention of it before, Desiree, earlier when you were talking. And this is something I recommend to everybody: start listening to your body. Like really feel what your body is telling you, feel and think about how you feel in any given moment. And it's like, okay, I don't like how this feels. Why is that? Or, I felt really great today. And then start backtracking. Why do I feel better now than what I did yesterday? All of those different things will help you figure out the nuances of who you are in terms of your physical makeup. And you can start making better decisions strictly based on that as well.
Got you. That's great advice. And then, what about? Actually, I have like two more questions.
Okay.
What about like where can you find items? Because I know like for a lot of people, one thing that keeps them from wanting to start their journey is that of course eating or getting the food is expensive to live the lifestyle. What are your recommendations on like shopping or where to shop or where to find food that's affordable, within your budget?
Hmm. You want to take that, Lafe?
Well, first I tell people to talk to my wife.
Mhm.
Like, like seriously.
No,
Um,
seriously, yeah.
no, seriously. She's a wealth of resource in terms of how to eat effectively, how to eat nutritiously, and on a budget as well. I know, like, because I don't leave my house enough to really give a solid answer on this, but I know when I'm like traveling, when I was traveling rather, uh, eating whole foods, like literal whole foods, like non-packaged foods,
Mm-hmm.
is way cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And people might not understand that. I remember like when I'll bring up a time when we went to California. We stayed there for like almost a month. It was me and my dude Lamar, and we had like a $0 budget. so, so like and California is expensive. But what we
Yeah.
did was we went to the store and just bought produce. We didn't buy anything that had a package on it at all, and we were able to literally reduce our spending to about $2 or $3 a day per, like, just to eat, and we ate well. And so it wasn't like we were starving or anything like that.
Right.
Especially now during quarantine, uh, aside from price gouging, think about buying like things in bulk as well, right? Like beans, rice,
Right.
or not necessarily rice. It depends on what you're doing with grains. Buying whole foods, like what I mean, like Plant Life, is way cheaper than buying prepackaged things. And
Mm.
that's not to say that some organic foods aren't more expensive. They are, however, there are always ways around it. Under knowing your produce providers, like literally
Right.
knowing them. When you go places, do you know the people where you shop? If you don't,
Right.
you should get to know them. I was on a talk yesterday with some designers, and we were talking about law, and it's like, well, you need to know some lawyers. If you want
Mm-hmm.
good advice, if you want great advice, because not everybody has money, but everybody can provide friendship, everybody can have a
Right.
network, and you get advice that you're not necessarily seeking when these people are part of your network. Just like your Plant with Friends group. I know I messed up the name, but
It's
Thank
okay.
you.
yeah, yeah, but just like that, right? The fact that you have a network of people, your knowledge will increase exponentially in terms of plants, what to get, what not to
Right.
get, those kinds of things. And it's the same way when it comes to food. When you want to buy affordable food, know the people that are at the store, talk to them, see what's on sale, see what deals they have, and just talk to them, period. Just period. They're people too, right? So once you get to
Right.
understand
Right.
and know those people, then you can ask them questions, and they'll have deals. Like in some places, they actually are able to give you free food.
Hmm.
Most people don't know that. You can literally
Yeah, I
get
didn't
free
know.
food at the store. But again, because the reason why you don't know it is because you don't talk to the people. And I'm not
Right.
saying just you, but just in general, because I didn't know
Mhm.
it until they told us, like, oh, yeah, you can get something free. What you want? Like, cool. So,
Oh,
I started
Yeah.
going, point stuff out and all this kind of stuff,
right.
right? And you'll find that this is there are all kinds of workarounds in terms of saving money on your food bills and your food costs, and also just keep and understanding markets as well.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of little tips and tricks. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, you really hit on it as far as like building your network and forming relationships. When I
Mhm.
initially started out, and I had the same issues as far as like price and stuff like that. One of the things I found was when you do make the switch and you do start eating more whole foods and healthier, like I said, your cravings go down. So if there is an issue with like pricing, I wasn't eating as much, so that kind of
Yeah,
mitigated
that
that
too.
mitigated it some. And then also I made the journey of actually going out and skipping the big box store and actually going to the producers. I
Yep.
started
That's
networking
what
with
I want to do. Yeah, that's what I would love to do.
it's easier today than in any time that you can now, as far as
Yes.
like finding numbers, actually
Hmm.
going out and visiting farms, especially during this time during the pandemic. Farms are welcoming people to come straight to them. I know a lot of people may be feeling the crunch of big box store prices going up, and one of the ways you can deal with that is actually going around them and actually going straight to the producers, like joining a consumer service agriculture program,
Yep.
CSA, joining one of those, finding local farms and actually calling them up and
Or just
asking them,
like you said, just going directly to
just
them.
going direct.
Period.
That
And then, go ahead, Kev. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say the farmers market. That's the things that I did when turned around and really started trying to make this work. I got
Hmm.
3 boys, and I got family and stuff, so people eat. So I, kn- I didn't like hearing it when somebody told it to me, like go to the farmers, but eventually I did it, and one farm led to another, and it
Hmm.
it's so much so that I actually work at one part time. And
Yeah.
yeah, so just like you're doing with with Glean,
Hmm.
get
Glen,
uh,
Kentucky.
Yep.
yeah, develop that, cultivate those relationships, and then you'll be in contact with friends that have food
Yeah,
and friends that
and also it when Kevin said what he said, it made me think about like all the produce that was being thrown away in Florida. Go
Hmm.
directly to the source, like seriously, and not only that, but you mentioned it early in the conversation. Become the
yeah,
source of
Hmm.
your own food. Like start a
Yeah.
garden. The garden we went to, my friend's wife, she was showing us her garden and the fact that they don't buy any of that stuff. They hunt. So I mean, like literally, they rarely go to the store. So you think about how much money you would save, like
Right.
long term, and it's ridiculous. That's what got me motivated back because I'm usually
Right.
I'm all digital, but when it came to saving that kind of money, I'm like, man,
might have to go back to
yeah,
analog.
like
I
seriously,
mean, and it's healthier too when once you think about all this stuff that they're doing with the meat. And,
yeah,
hmm
oh,
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
free.
it,
I mean,
yeah.
ooh,
like
Some
free
other
food is
things
bad.
some
Go
other
ahead.
things when it comes to the market is having a list and knowing what you really like and perusing the outskirts. Whenever you go into a big box store, stay on the outskirts, like it's starting to produce, and go around the back and or the other side, and stay away from the middle
Yeah.
of a store as much as possible. Then
gotcha.
also
Kevin
leveraging.
used to be that guy to entice people in the middle, so he
Yeah,
knows.
I used to be a marketer in a big box store, setting
Yeah,
things up. Yeah, I used to be that guy. You need this right here. Put it in your bucket. Put it in your buggy. Um, but yeah, doing that, and I was about to say something else. Yeah, knowing what you like and knowing what you eat, trying to buy in bulk. Um,
Hmm.
that's pretty much all I got off the top of my head right now.
yeah, and also the fact that you're cooking more, cook
Yes,
more often.
cook. Yes,
Okay.
Because one, that'll save your fast food budget, will kill your budget period
Yes,
anyway.
it
Eating out.
will.
hmm
Eating out
Yes, it
will
will.
destroy a food budget. And so if you can cook more, that alone will save you money. And then from there, just figuring out, like you said, figure out what you like. And not only that, but figure out what it takes to make what you like, right?
yes,
Right.
And then and even from a dietary standpoint, it's still more beneficial. Like it's like, okay, say that one of your bad foods is cake, right? I don't like to eat cake. I like to eat cake, but I shouldn't eat it. And this the
Right.
fact that you have to make it may slow you down. Just the convenience factor, because most people, especially the way we've, been groomed here, if it's convenient, we're more likely to do it. So,
Right.
think about how you set that up. So anyway, yeah, but go to this, know what you're gonna get before you go, and don't stray from it. That's another way to save money, because you'll buy more stuff than what you intended on buying. Know the people that provide your food, and ultimately become the provider of your own food.
Yes. Okay. That's great advice. And this is my last question, because this is like a really big phenomenon in the fitness world, or health world right now. Sea moss gel. Have you guys tried that yet?
Right?
No.
Steam
Sea moss
wash.
gel.
Oh, sea moss.
Oh,
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
see,
Sea
sea moss
moss.
gel.
Sorry, my
Okay.
country slur.
I'm not the person to ask on that one. So
I want to hear
I'm
your
gonna look it up
perspective,
though.
though.
I'm going to look it up
You know
right
what I
now.
mean? Like, I trust your, I've been doing research on it, and I use maybe like a tablespoon in my smoothie, maybe once a day. But I mean,
Okay.
everybody has a lot of great things to say about it, and and I know from my own personal experience, I've had good, I've had great, I guess
results with
results
it.
from it, but over a long period of time, I'm just, that's more so my concern. Like, is it something that's good for me as far as, over a long period of time? Is it something that, could be beneficial for my health or no? Because it does have it's been known to have 92 of the, you know, most minerals and vitamins that our body is made up of. But I mean, I don't know. I just want
I
to hear your
mean,
guys' perspective on it.
Um, I don't have anything negative to say about it. I haven't
yeah,
personally
I
tried it.
don't.
I know it's like the new craze as far as the superfood that's getting the limelight
Yeah.
right now. Right now, so me personally, I say jump on it, jump on the train, and try it out and see how it works for you. Just realize and understand that all foods don't affect everybody the same way. So, I mean,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with experimenting and trying it. There are
Right.
The world is filled with a multitude of nutritious superfoods out there. So
Yeah,
if CMOS is something that gets you going and gets you on a right path, that'll introduce you to a lot of other things that's out there too. When I first jumped in, the craze was kale. And
yeah,
co-
Yeah. It's still all the
it's still a
craze.
craze, yeah. And
Kale
coconut
and
oil,
avocado.
yeah,
yeah, avocados. So I mean, it's something that kind of introduced me to this whole world of being a healthy and wellness kind of craze fanatic. So
Yeah.
me personally, go for it. CMOS, yeah, I'll try it and see what happens.
yeah. One thing I will say, like Kevin said, is that there's a whole multitude of foods that you can eat in this world, and even just think about it from the standpoint of, it may be 4 or 5 times higher in a certain nutrient than something else, but it still doesn't stop you from eating something else to get the same amount of nutrients, right? So
Right.
always be careful of the buzzwords and the marketing things that are around these foods. And the reason why I say that is because, going back to your previous question about price, is when something starts to trend, the price goes up. So I
Right.
always keep that in mind. Is like, okay, I can try it, but I don't have to go crazy with it, because that's what the marketing is for, is to get you to buy more. It's like, oh man, we got all of this supply of sea moss. How can we get this out, right?
Yeah,
And,
Right.
yeah,
and it still may be beneficial, but for example, in our conversation yesterday, a lot of the stuff that people buy grows naturally in a lot of places. It
Yeah.
really does. It's just not in a commercial package, so we don't think anything of
Yeah.
it. And
Hmm.
so just keep in mind, with your plant group, maybe they can help you identify things that grow naturally that you don't even have to plant. And so there's all kinds of things. Again, talking about saving money, uh, just be careful not to get caught up in, the trends that are hitting, because somebody will find something quote unquote new. Think about, CMOS has been around since the beginning of life on this planet. And
Exactly.
so,
Mhm.
and so don't let don't let things sway you. And I'm not saying don't try it. I'm not saying don't get it. I'm just saying make sure that you take the emotion out of it and look at it for
Right.
what it is and think about what, like you said, what's best for you, what's best for your budget, what's best for your body, what's best for your mental. And
Right.
think about it from that perspective. Just slow down. And it's like, okay, I'll try it and see if this works, or maybe it's not even for me. Or maybe there's 10 other alternatives that nobody's hyped about that I can get cheaper.
Man, that's the truth right there.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's another way to look at it. Also, and again, I'm not sure how this works in quarantine, but go to your, if you're going to a market, go to an off market, go to like the Asian market, go to uh,
The
the
Indian market.
African market. There's all kinds of different markets that
Yeah.
aren't commercialized that have stuff for people that are native to other countries that may be
I know that.
way cheaper.
Yeah.
They may be more expensive, or they may be cheaper, but that's worth looking into.
You're
So,
definitely right. I'm gonna have to try that out for sure.
yep.
For sure. I
So,
appreciate you guys. That's all my
and
questions.
That's all your questions?
Yes, I believe
yeah,
that's all my
we
questions.
definitely appreciate.
Oh, I did have one more, but my phone's about to die, but I'm gonna just ask it real quick.
Okay,
What are some
look
of
at Kevin's face.
your favorite fruits and veggies?
Favorite fruits
My
and veggies?
favorite fruit and veggies. Go ahead, Kev, because
Blueberries.
my
I
mic is
love
on.
all the berries. Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, goji berries. I'm a berry person in my smoothies. Vegetables, all leafy greens, broccoli,
Right.
We call him
Brussels
Barry Gordy.
sprouts. Huh?
Ooh.
I said we call you Barry Gordy.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Avocados.
I can dig it.
Yeah, let's see, favorite fruits and vegetables. Watermelon is my favorite fruit now. Grape, like all the berries, like Kevin said.
Mhm.
I get a lot of my berries in my smoothies on a daily basis. Um, see, vegetables, eat a lot of broccoli, eat a lot of greens, legumes, peas. I like them all pretty much, except for okra. I'm not an okra fan quite yet.
I
I'm not. But if you love it, then that's awesome.
love
Yeah, that's pretty much the only vegetable that I don't like that I can think of. And I
Okay.
would eat it if I had to, but I just don't like the texture of it personally. But
I
yeah,
sounds
pretty
good.
much everything. And the more you eat them, the more you get a craving for them.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so so yeah, experiment. Try all the foods out there that you never knew existed, because most people just eat the same stuff on a daily basis, and they don't
Right.
even realize it.
Right.
They'll eat a potato 90 different ways. They'll eat a hamburger 90 different ways, and think
Right.
it's something new. So just experiment. There's probably thousands, if not millions, of different types of fruits out there and
Will do.
vegetables. So
We'll definitely do. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, we
uh,
appreciate you.
yeah,
Definitely
definitely.
enjoyed having you on just to have a conversation. Um,
Yeah,
that's hopefully it's inspirational and motivational, and I think it's
definitely.
something that's very poignant given the time that we're in. We're in the pandemic, and I know that many of us may be experiencing a struggle or a fight with some negative habits, but
Mhm.
just be encouraged and be strengthened to carry on, keep calm, and carry on with the fight
Yes,
of
I sure will.
you
Pray
stay on
for
the
me.
path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
stay on
I'll
the
and
path.
I'll say this once again. Like I said, I've known you since you was a little one. Definitely proud of you, proud of who you become, proud of who you stay. Keep smiling, keep shining, and keep
Yes,
grinding.
sir. I
Oh,
appreciate you
and
and Deshauna. For
and we're
real.
gonna go ahead and push your YouTube vlog.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, I do
share that
have
with
a
us.
blog, Designed Wellness, spelled D apostrophe SIGNED Wellness. YouTube, you can find me on Instagram at the Plus Fit Nista, and also follow my journey there as well.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, Lafe.
Yeah, and then also make sure that you get online and type all of this stuff in as well in the chat, so people when they see this that it'll be stuck there.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do.
And
All
sign us
right.
out, Kev.
two shy
All
guys
right,
and
bye.
one outgoing, gorgeous lady, Desiree. Two shy guys and a mic. Just thank you all for having joining in and having a conversation with us, talking about health and wellness and the process and the journey, and just be encouraged to continue on and what you're doing out there as far as maintaining a good mindset, a good heart set, good fit body that you can, and keep that spiritual journey intact too. So that's all we
Yes,
got.
I really appreciate it.
Take
Y'all have a
care,
good one.
everybody.
Peace out.
Yeah. Peace out.
Bye bye.